Today I'm taking you behind the scenes of another brand I love. Let's take a look at Sloane. Sloane is an incredible 43-story tower that's being built in the South Denny Triangle of Seattle. The tower features 442 residential homes, 2,000 square feet of retail at grade, and iconic views of the Space Needle, of Puget Sound, of Elliott Bay, and Lake Union. If you haven't been to South Lake Union yet, it is defined by the Amazon ecosystem. That's where the spheres are, right? So there's a ton of demand in the area, but there's also a lot of apartments. So we had to figure out a way to make this crown jewel really stand out from the pack. We begin every immersion process by studying the architecture, the interior design, the history of the project, the intention of the developer. And what we loved about this project is the footprint is so interesting. This building has all of these awesome angles on the exterior, which really made it look fragmented, kind of like something elemental, like a rough cut jewel or textured marble, something like that. It was raw yet refined. This concept became even stronger once we got into the interior design. This team introduced all of these concealed light sources, interesting angles, moments of visual intrigue that kind of felt like you were walking through an MC Escher drawing. Like you never knew it was going to come around the corner. It was so exciting and it really pulled you in, and that's something that we wanted to make sure we reflected in the brand. After immersion, we started to develop some creative concepts to see where we were going to go with the design and the name. One of the concepts that we developed was this idea of a jewelry box. You know, when you have a jewelry box, it's where you put your most prized possessions. Not only that, but Seattle is the Emerald City and Washington is known for its gemstones. So when we looked at the opportunity of the exterior of the building, the shapes that we were getting, that was an idea we wanted to explore. The other piece that we explored was this idea of folded light and geometry. There was so much geometry and interesting angles, acute, obtuse, all throughout the building and the interior design, and that was something that we really wanted to lean into as well. As we presented these directions alongside mood boards and 8 names, we came to a name that stood out immediately, and that was Sloane. At first glance, it reads like a name, feminine, refined, effortless, but also strong, but it actually carries a deeper story that goes all the way back to London. Back in the 80s and 90s, there was an area of London where all the coolest kids hung out. Princess Diana and all her friends that were always in the tabloids, they all lived in Sloane Square, and they got the nickname the Sloanies. And this became the indicator of the coolest, most confident people, the coolest, most confident neighborhood. And we wanted to evoke this same energy for this elevated address in Seattle. It's understated excellence and sophistication without the flash. It's strong, but it also stands on its own as a persona. The building is chic, it's effortless, it's confident. It doesn't need to announce itself loudly. It draws you in just because it's excellent. Once the creative direction and the name were established, we went into full-on brand development. That's where we get to play with all the design. And we had so much fun doing this, and we actually came to 2 front runners. The first one was a vertical design, which I thought would work so well on the exterior of the building where you're at the street side and the verticality of the building. I loved this one because it's interesting, it's intriguing, it pulls you in, it feels a little irreverent, but it also is legible when you read it from top to bottom. Ultimately, we selected this one for the final brand mark because we thought it best represented the interior design, and we were inspired by the reflective ceiling plans of the design, and we pulled some of those actual elements from the plans into a brand element. So you're going to see that throughout the signage in the property as well. In parallel with the visual brand development, we hit the full brand bullseye, as I always say. We are doing the brand story, the name origins, the taglines, the website copy, social media messaging, sales scripts, all the things, and it's all cohesive. It represents the neighborhood context, the developer's vision, the interior design, the exterior design, and the desires of the Sloaney or the resident that's going to live there. They want a sophisticated address that's understated, that doesn't announce itself loudly, but supports the way that they want to live. We are so honored to have partnered with Holland Partner Group on this project. Thank you for selecting us as your creative partner. This is a perfect example of brand as environment, brand as story, brand as experience, and this is behind the scenes of Sloane.